Alright boys and girls, today I have a pretty cool game for you. A really nice match between Arthas and NaVi. Played during the Dreamhack Valencia Qualifier, the two teams faced each other on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And the cool thing about Tomb of the Spider Queen is that one of my favorite heroes is very viable on this map right now, Azmodan. Azmodan comms are super fun. You can actually compare it a little bit to StarCraft 2, where you had one player go for a fast tech into strong units in the late game and the other one trying to zerg him down early on to make sure that he never gets to that point of the game. And this is a little bit the same with Azmodan. If you run an Azmodan composition, you are basically banking your hopes on the late game. You want to survive the early game, somehow get those stacks with Taste for Blood on Azmodan, all that extra damage, ideally of course all 500 stacks, and then just put that damage to work and take down your opponent. If you're running up against an Azmodan composition, what you see most teams do is try to push in as fast as they can to take down structures, make sure that you really establish an early lead for yourself, a huge advantage also in levels that you then can carry to victory. So this is one of the things that is extremely cool when you see an Azmodan composition, and Tomb of the Spider Queen is of course one of the best maps for Azmodan. And Arthas is playing something that they used against Alternate Fantasy just recently with great success. They're playing Azmodan together with Khaldor. So two heroes that after level 16 have amazing poke. Flamethrower plus Ignite on Khaldor is already great, but if you have an Azmodan with a lot of stacks, then you can from a safe distance execute so much damage against your opponent's team that with the pokes alone you oftentimes get a kill right there. And they're also running it with the Zeratul here, which makes things even more interesting since we have seasoned marksman on the hero. Again, NaVi on the other hand, I mean, this team has been dominant in Europe together with Team Liquid for a long time, so they definitely know the Heroes of the Storm, and they know this as well. So they are running a completely different setup. They're running a Sylvanas here, pretty good for pushing power already, and a Nuburak, great lane control, Beetle build, high, and we're having a double promote, Brightwing Tassadar for them. So you can really see how the two strategies differ here. They are trying to just like rush in as fast as they can, get those kills, and that's exactly the game plan of NaVi. If it works out, if NaVi can take down Arthas, or if Arthas survives, gets into the late game and suddenly turns things around here, that's what we're going to find out right now on Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's going to be a good one, boys, so make sure they get some snacks ready, because this game is going to be fun. Alright everybody, welcome to the game here in Tomb of the Spider Queen between Team Arthas and NaVi. To the left side of the map we have the Russian team with BKB on Nuburak, we have Kunichan on Zeratul, Unstable on Khaldor, Andilendi on Azmodan, and Sefkaja on Malfurion. To the right side of the map, NaVi playing Breeze on Stitches here today, Eternal on Jaina, Splendor on Brightwing, JPL on Sylvanas, and Schwimpy on Tassadar. You can already see from the lineup here that we have actually a pretty fun game ahead of us, and I really want to talk about a few things here. Stitches is of course a hero that most people of you probably didn't really expect here, and to tell you the truth, I didn't expect Stitches to be played either. But with the bans, how they went during the draft phase, it kind of makes sense for NaVi to now play that with Stitches, because we had a high focus on banning out tanks. Muradin of course these days is extremely strong, and it was one of the reasons why Arthas banned Muradin. And on the side of NaVi we had bans on Johanna and Ethereal, forcing of course BKB also into a solo Nuburak, and on the other hand we have Arthas playing oftentimes with double tank here, but this time they only could get one through the draft. That meant at the same time though that for NaVi there were not really too many tanks to pick from, and they chose to take Stitches, and it's an interesting pick here because we have on the opponent's side an Azmodan. And Azmodan, if you followed the meta in the European scene a bit, you know that Azmodan is actually a really not only up and coming hero, but he's well established on Tomb of the Spider Queen, since you can get a lot of stacks on two of the lanes, you can reach them easily with the Global Annihilation. We just saw the shadow of one jumping in there at the bot lane. So this is going to be an amazing match, because we not only have Azmodan, who of course tries to go with Taste for Blood for his stacks in the late game, we also have a Zeratul, which basically tries to do the same thing with the Seasoned Marksman here. So both of these heroes are aiming for a lot of minion kills, and then, oh, nice hook against BKB. Do they get the kill against the Nuburak? Yes, they do! NaVi with the first blood in the game, and this aggression that we're seeing from him caters already to the style that they have to play in this game to survive. What is it all about when you play Azmodan and also, of course, a Seasoned Marksman auto attack?
attack Zeratul the late game exactly. You try to get into the late game with as many stacks as you can, and also to of course have as much damage thanks to Seasoned Marksman on a hero like Zeratul. And this is what NaVi has to prevent. They need to be aggressive, and this is exactly what they're trying to do right now. Control the map, control especially of course the 2 turn-in points, trying to make sure that they get really good kills from those hooks, especially if possible against Azmodan, and of course also against Zeratul, which is going to be a little bit more difficult since he can jump away. But this is the entire idea behind this setup. Then again, we also have of course a few more tricks for NaVi. It's not the only thing that they are relying upon here. With the Brightwing and also a Tacita as well as the Sylvanas in their lineup, then it can now try and just use Promote on level 4 to push those lanes in even more. Sylvanas is of course a hero that you always want to try and get or ban out if you're trying to go for a Promote strategy, simply because she is so damn good against it. Oh, good hook, by the way, against Andilendi here. Bree so far really showing his skills as a Stitches player. He's probably one of the best tanks in Europe right now, if not the best tank player, and he's not only showcasing that on his mains, but also on Stitches right now with really good hooks. The double Promote on level 4 already taken, as you can see in the talent section below. We're having Azmodan in this case going for Taste for Blood, and then immediately for the Bound Minion trade. So this is going to be a super exciting game, because in the late game Arthas has such an amazing setup that it's going to be extremely difficult for NaVi to make anything happen there. If you follow the videos on the channel, then you of course know that in the past we already had a few games where Arthas was playing on this map in particular with an Azmodan comp against Team Alternate Fancy, and what happened there is that Alternate Fancy just wasn't able to really put too much pressure against Arthas in the early game. In the late game they simply paid because the opponent's team was running Azmodan, and what's even more important, together with Azmodan they ran Kel'Thas, and that's exactly what we're seeing in this game again. So you have so much poke from a safe distance with Flamethrower taken on Kel'Thas on level 13, and then later on also Ignite, that you can just like poke an opponent to death, and that's exactly the style that Arthas is trying to showcase once again. So this is going to be super cool here, and we're going to have a high focus on the stack numbers. Kunichan, for example, on 8 stacks currently for a Seasoned Marksman. Nothing really like all too fancy if you think about the late game, but if you think about us being in the game for not even 4 minutes, that's actually pretty respectable to be this close. This is actually the best map that we have for Seasoned Marksman. Oftentimes you see players end up with 50, 60, sometimes even 70 stacks in the late game on this map, and that's of course a lot of extra damage that you get there. Once again, Azmodan doing his thing, and this is suddenly Team Arthas moving in with an attempt to kill against JPN, and they get it! They get the kill, they take down Sylvanas. Really well done. And it's of course amazing if you get those early game kills against your opponent, but we have the counter kill against Zeratul thanks to Eternal rotating in on Jaina, but the rest of Team Arthas gets away. The first Web Weaver set is also in the game. We have them descending for the red team for NaVi. They're making sure that they're getting some pressure in here. And another hook, this time against Andilendi. Azmodan in trouble, but gets away thanks to Unstable on Kel'Thas using Gravity Lapse against Freeze. The stack count now is 66. Pretty decent, 4 minutes and 40 seconds in. 80 is the magic number. Once you hit level 10, you won't have 80 stacks, so with the Black Pool, you are able to take down a creep wave on your own. But usually players, especially on this map, get a lot more by that mark. Zefka going down on Malfurion. Whoa, this was a close one. We have the rest of them trying to move in and attempt to kill against once more Sylvanas. Really well done. Andilendi was moving in with the damage, but he has to pay with his life. Breeze is still there. Eternal and Shrimpy 2, and both of them are extremely low, but Splinter's moving on a bribing, trying to get the counter kill, and they get it. They take down Zeratul. Both of the stacking heroes already taken out here. Very well done, and this is exactly the type of play that we need to see from NaVi. Aggression, making sure that they dominate this early game. Team Liquid has showcased it several times against teams like Gamers 2 and also NaVi, and of course Team Arthas, trying to make sure that you get the opponent structures down as fast as you can, establish a level lead, and then run with it so that you never end up in that early game. And Arthas, they have also shown against Team Liquid that they know how to play this, but so far against TL, against the Spaniards, they haven't really gotten the Azmodan win as of yet. But still, looking at the stats here, we're currently looking at 84 damage on Andilendi already. And of course, it's not only about him. We mentioned Zeratul several times, and Zeratul is at 10 extra damage so far already. Moving in again, and always these globes from the mid lane to the top, to the bot lane. Wherever there is a wave in trouble, you see that Globe of Annihilation moving in and trying to get the extra stacks. And there is definitely a timer on NaVi. They are on a clock here, and they are ahead. They are about to hit level 10. exactly what they need to do. Establish that early level lead. Try to move in. Use that advantage that you have with the heroic ability to drop a fort. Maybe to get another set of web weavers in and making sure that you dominate the objective on the map. That's what it's all about here. The talents are coming to play, and we of course Fission Bomb on Khaldor, who by the way went for gathering power and didn't bother with Never the Wind here. Level 10, triggering an immediate move into the mid lane from Team NaVi, trying to take down that fort here, and they're going to be successful with this. Once again, we have another Globe Violation coming in, not killing too much just yet, but Azmodan is waiting for the second one. He has a 10-second cooldown, and this is going in again with number 2, and there it is. More stacks for Azmodan, and that bad boy is really starting to rack up the numbers here. We have Putrid Bile taken on the side of Stitches, Water Elemental, Blink, Heal, Wailing Arrow, and of course Archon on Tacita, exactly the talents that you expect there. And but with all this pressure that we're seeing, still keep in mind that a lot of this is also due to promote, and this is one of the big dangers for Team Arthas. Once that they start to lose keeps and catapult spawn for the opponent, those promoted catapults will really give them a lot of trouble, and that's exactly what they need to try to at least defend the inner circle of structures. Nice! Eternal going down! Really well done here again by Khaldor with that gravity lapse, isolating Jaina, and that allowed Andy Landy with the March of Sin to just laser away and get a lot of damage in there. We have by now in the stack count on Azmodan 142 now that they reached level 10, and that will allow him to easily take down waves with his Blackpool, and of course with the help of the rest of the heroes he can take those out even without using his heroic ability. At the bot lane with the Web Weavers, another fort fell a few seconds earlier, but now we have the Web Weavers moving in towards the keep, and this is where Arthas needs to make a bit of a stand. So far they lost quite a few structures, they're still a bit behind, but they're not doing too bad actually. There is not a single keep that has been damaged just yet. Andy Landy moving in again with another damage ball against JPL, and they kill again. 4 kills against 5. Arthas is really keeping it real here. They are still having that keep to the left side, hasn't been damaged whatsoever, and Andy Landy is moving in again with another ball, taking the stack count up, and currently he is at 166. At the top lane, NaVi, they know that they need to do some work, they need to do something right now. They still have a couple of gems available, but it's only 22. That's not enough for another turn-in, whereas we're seeing on the side of Arthas 77 gems in their possession. They just never really got an opportunity to move into the mid lane and really turn all of those in. They even possess another fort up at the top, and you might be a bit surprised to actually see Malfurion not going for Enduring Growth but for Mule on this level, on level 7 here. But the reason is of course quite transparent. They want us to stay alive for as long as they possibly can, making sure that they get Azmodan to that level, and also Zeratul, where they can wreak havoc in the opponent's backline and just always go for that poke. Unstable, he needs 13 for the flamethrower, and then once he has 16, it's going to be even better for them. Again, Azmodan moving in, and this bad boy is starting to get some serious damage in here. The level 13 talent advantage that we're seeing for NaVi gives them another talent though, and we have Relentless now on Stitches, who went for sustain build obviously as the single tank of the team that he is, with Chew Your Food on level 1, Amplified Healing and Tenderizer. We're seeing also Ice Blocks now coming into play. And besides that, we're having also a Shrink Ray, and we have a Spell Shield. And let's talk a bit about these talents. First of all, the Ice Blocks of course are extremely powerful when you're trying to dodge one of those Orbs of Annihilation, and especially later on in the game they are extremely strong. If you're talking about damage negotiation and damage mitigation, it's really important to also just use that Spell Shield on Sylvanas, and you give up either your Evasive Fire, or you could of course go into a few other talents here, but this is still the most important one. Going for Spell Shield here is just some point where they're saying, alright, this is just too much damage coming out of them. They have a Khaldor, they have an Azmodan, we need to do something about that, and Sylvanas just can't stay alive if she doesn't go the safe route here. So they are going for Spell Shield, and with Shrink Ray you have a great tool against Belly Assassins on Tacita. So once Zeratul is starting to jump in, there will be immediately a Shrink Ray on him, and that will not only reduce his movement speed but also his damage greatly by 50%, as you can see here, for 4 seconds, which is definitely nothing to frown upon. So a very strong tool to keeping a Zeratul player in this place. You can also just kill him, that works too. I mean, Zeratul just eats a storm, Shrimpy moves in and takes him out here. So yeah, Zeratul gets fried and therefore 20 seconds out of the game. The NaVi team is moving in again at the bot lane, at the mid lane, pushing those in, getting their promotes ready, trying to establish a strong presence. But look at Azmodan here. 270 stacks already, and they have level 13. That gap in experience that we see between the two teams is still there, but we all know that this is only natural considering what type of play Arthas is playing here. 6 kills against 4, and with every single level on the side of Arthas, it's going to be more difficult for Team NaVi to do anything about it. They actually moved to the boss at the top lane. Breeze was checking if maybe Arthas is there, and they were deciding to go for the boss themselves, but that Globe of Annihilation already putting a stop to that plan. Just too much damage. Arthas reacted too fast. They knew what was coming and checked that out immediately. 13 minutes in, actually only 11 and a half. I have no idea where that 13 came from. We have 24 stacks also, 24 extra damage with the Seasoned Marksman stacks here for Zeratul, and that is also, of course, starting to show some work. Looking at the numbers here, just to give you a bit of an idea of what exactly is happening here right now, we're having on Azmodan already 8,000 damage, and just look at the team moving in at the mid lane again. Once more the Web Weavers release. That's the third release that they have here, and this is where they are starting to take some keeps, or at least they're trying to, because they have to do something about it. Of course, promote is once again part of the plan, and at the same time we have on the side of Arthas 120 gems already. If they are ever able to move into the middle of the map and start to turn in their gems, then NaVi is going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Again, the Globe of Annihilation down here at the bot, 300 stacks already. The damage is getting serious here. The top lane rotation from NaVi, they're rotating through lanes to the next one, from the bot to the mid, from the mid to the top, and taking down structures, going straight again for another fort, and of course trying to dominate those turning points as well. BKB is attempting to turn in, but at the same time NaVi is well aware of what's happening here, moving straight down to the bottom turn and spot and saying like, nope, Beetle, not today. You're not gonna turn in these gems, whereas Andy Landy is playing this really patient. With a composition like this, you never really want to jump your opponent. You want to be patient, you wait, and you have to be able to make sacrifices. If you don't have the patience to sacrifice a fort or 2 or 3, then this composition is definitely something that you will not have a lot of success with. But Arthas has shown in the past already that they are absolutely great with play like this, and this is exactly what they are currently showcasing here as well. Kuni-chan at this point is already on 30 extra damage, and this is really starting to do quite some work. If you go for an auto attack build on Zeratul, you can get a lot of damage in with this, and this is what we're currently seeing from him. Once again, another hit, and by now it's 1,100 damage with Blackpool that they are doing here. And just look at the levels. Level 16 talents are now on the board, and that's of course amazing for NaVi, having that lead also with the fishing hook here for the extra 40% range on the hook of Stitches. But the problem still remains the same. Once level 16 hits for Team Arthas, they have not only a lot of damage on Azmodan, but also on Khaldor, and can really start to poke. They're already moving out. I mean, they're starting to lose their respect a little bit here. And with 140 gems, that's nearly 3 turn-ins that they have. Not quite, but they are still gathering. So in this case, that could be... Oh, look at that hook! Oh my god! BKB can be happy that he has that burrow charge to get away there. But Breeze with the long distance hook, taking an Uburak out of position. That was really well done. And he's still using that area over here to try and get hooks at the mid lane, at the bot lane. Already Breeze aiming for another target. Whoa! How on earth did that not work? You could even see the wailing arrow. This time Navi was just saying, alright, listen, I'm gonna hit that hook, and once it comes in, you use the wailing arrow, and whatever I hit, you will silence. And it looks like it just actually attacked the creep here. Whatever happened there didn't really work out the way that Breeze was planning it, but that was extremely close. The wailing arrow in this case, of course, just going away unnoticed. But here's the level 16 talent, and once again, this time we're having Arthas starting to move in. Navi, did they run out of time already here? Level 16 is here, and that means that Azmodan is currently looking at 400 stacks, a lot of serious damage. Zeratul, of course, with a bit of extra damage on his own, is currently looking at 31, and still 1,200 damage on those balls. This is pretty nasty for Navi now. They might have waited a bit too long. Another attempt by Breeze to hit a target. He goes for the hook, and here comes Azmodan once again going straight for Breeze. Breeze nearly down. He's nearly dead. He gets a shield and runs away. Oh my god, he survives. Splendor with another blink here, keeps him alive. Here comes also the bubble, the Void Prison comboed right away with the Phoenix, but it's not enough damage against Navi. They're trying to run away here. The Globe of Annihilation doesn't hit anything, but Kuni-chan is already on the move, trying to hit any of those targets. It's just barely survived. Splendor with another turn and attempt, and Breeze I cannot believe that he survived this. Oh my god, like Splendor moving in, trying to shield him as much as he could. We had the shield from Tassadar and just blink heal after blink heal. Here comes once again Zeratul, and Zeratul eats the blizzard and goes down. Doesn't get the kill against Eternal in the last second. We have BKB moving away on the Nubarak. Breeze already moving in up to the top lane. Oh my god, the dodge against the Wailing Arrow. Ah, but it's not enough. Malfurion dying. Sefka saves himself. Oh, what? Oh, 3 points for Azmodan. Wow, that was amazing. Takes down Jaina as well. And these are just the moves that you don't see coming. You get the kill, you're happy, you want to turn around and go back home. Write a letter to Mama and tell her all about it. And then all of a sudden there's that Globe of Annihilation and you are dead meat. JPL, look at that. Splendor saving his ass. The kill against Khaldor. What's going on in this game? All of a sudden Navi is making these plays that we were expecting so much earlier from them. But still Arthas with kill after kill. 5 kills against 9. Kunichan moving in again, jumping on Shrimpy, missing the singularity spike, getting shrink rate and moving away once more. The Web Weavers, the first set that we're seeing for Arthas, are moving to the bot lane to start to do some damage here. Zeratul with 33 extra damage already. Let's look at the damage numbers talking about that. We are already having by now 17,000 damage on Azmodan, 19,000 on Khaldor. Look at Zeratul here, 16,000 for him alone in the mid lane. Once again the attempt to take down Shrimpy, shields himself, uses the dimensional shift and just barely gets away, and Andy Landy, oh, goes straight for the wall here. He's at 150,000 siege damage by now. We're having again Navi moving in, and Navi, oh, of course, the longer this game goes, the harder it will be for them to come back into this, to really run with the advantage that they're having here. What they're trying to do is obvious, of course. They're currently trying to go straight for level 20, establish themselves another talent lead, and then run that into a victory. We have by now, in regards to Sex, 440 already, 450 by now for Azmodan, and Azmodan is just doing his thing on the map. He's never really getting too close. He's always staying in the back, throwing one orb after another, unstable, poking with a flame strike. They still have 60 of those gems, and up at the top lane it looks like Navi is going to try and play a bit more of a risky game right now. They're moving in against the boss. Can they actually make that happen? The rotation from Arthas is already underway. They're trying to move in. Oh, big hits here, nearly taking down Splendor. Once again Andy Landy is getting in position for another free throw, trying to get that in, and look at this entire setup here. Here comes the Globe of Annihilation. Kunichan is moving in, and oh my god, no, Kunichan, what did you do? He bubbled them. I cannot believe that happened. Oh my god, Andy Landy is not going to be happy about that. That would have been a 4-man orb, and he just bubbles them in the last second. The counter hook against Khaldor, the silence by JPL, and this is going to be the kill against him. Khaldor is down, Zeratul is about to die as well, and over here we see another attempt to get away. Oh, the Globe nearly take down JPL, and look at Eternal using his Void Prism. He saw that Globe in the air and just hit it in the last second. Better safe than sorry, and then suddenly he's like, oh, as the ball just flies over his head and tries to hit the backline. But Sefka keeps himself alive. Great play here. Once again, Navi's trying to move in. They are 5 versus 3. This might be the chance that they've been waiting for. They have level 20 talents already with a double Storm Shield, 1 Storm Shield actually, and also the Bolt of the Storm that they can use to dodge those globes. They take down the keep in the mid lane. Another hook by Breeze, but just barely missing Malfurion. Great play and great pressure on the side of Navi now. They're moving into the bot lane again, and it all started with that Void Prism, that really unfortunate Void Prism by Zeratul, and that denied that big hit from Azmodan. 4 players would have been hit by that orb, and that would probably even have killed one of them outright, and then you can of course always turn on the other 3 since they are going to be low as well. But in this case right now, it's once again a keep that falls, and it is a keep of Arthas. This game ain't over just yet. We have level 19 versus 21, but that was a big hit against Arthas now. The damage, 32,000 on Azmodan, 27,000 on Khaldor, and 20,000 on Zeratul. The boss about to be taken up at the top. They're moving in again. They're trying to get it here. Breeze with the hook against Malfurion. Ice Block being used. Where's Azmodan? There he is. Gets the hit in. Sefka trying to stay alive, healing himself once again, but the Water Elemental is already there. Navi is not shy, using a few of their heroic abilities to drop the healer. Kunichan moves in, tries to do whatever he can. Here comes the Void Prism, but we already have JPL moving in with another Haunting Wave, taking him down, punishing him hard. The Globe is hitting, but it's not hitting enough. enough. Once again, NaVi with 5 man on the field against 3. Azmodan could go for another poke with his globe, and he's doing exactly that, but he's only hitting Splendor here, and that boss is being attacked once more. Eternal up at the front line, trying to make sure that nobody's getting close enough to that globe. We have Khaldor going in with a bit of extra damage, trying once more to go for that, and nice, well done by Arthas, making sure that NaVi is not getting that boss, at least not for now. Andilendi, is he going to go for another throw? And it looks like it. Here comes the black pool, here comes the orb, and the damage, not only against the creep wave, but also against Breeze. Heals himself again. Azmodan, of course, at 500 stacks by now. Who would have thought, Kappa? But we have Zeratul with all that extra damage as well. But he is currently still out for the count for another 10 seconds. The boss still being attacked. BKB is here. Khaldor's moving up to the top once more. Andilendi is in position for another globe. The boss is getting low, very low, extremely low. BKB is already detected by the scouting drone. They're going for it once more. BKB, he's trying to go in. He's moving and he's trying to get it. Immediately gets focused. Sefka is already on the way, trying to use his tranquility. Maybe a little bit too late. And down goes the bug. The boss taken. Is NaVi paying for this move? Look at the heroes bouncing to the right side, especially, of course, especially Sylvanas with a haunting wave. Splendor surviving on Brightwing, and here comes Kuni-chan trying to take down the backline, but he gets eliminated as well. He just came back, and now he's taken out again. They had to make a risky play, and he was the one diving in hard. Once again, the moves right there, level 20 by now, on the side of Team Arthas. They're trying to use that, but right now they can do very little. The kill against Tacita and also against Malfurion, and NaVi is starting to move in. Look at the damage here, 50,000 on Azmodan, but it just doesn't matter anymore. The late game, that is where Arthas really was supposed to shine, but it's NaVi who make it happen with amazing hooks of Breeze, good defense. They go for the game, and the Zeratul and Azmodan comp defeated in the late game. More damage for Andilendi, but it does not matter. GG, the core falls, and Team NaVi takes down Arthas here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
A great game, guys. Really enjoyable Azmodan strategy here, and that definitely didn't go the way that NaVi was planning it. NaVi with their strategy really thought that they could early on establish a massive lead, and to be fair, they got a lead in talents and also in levels, but it was never as good as they wanted it to be, especially since they weren't able to take down a keep early on. And Arthas, especially when they hit level 16, they thought, alright boys, we got this. We have more than 100 gems, we have a level 16 with Ignite, we get Azmodan with over 400 stacks at this point already. We can move in and take the fight to NaVi, and that's exactly what they did. And that was really just a blow for blow the entire time. The two teams like two fighters in a cage going at each other's throat, just hit after hit, kill after kill. Extremely enjoyable there, and Andilendi just hitting 3-pointers one after another. Great match between the two teams here. I still can't believe that Kuni-chan just bubbled that 4-man throw that we saw from Andilendi with his Azmodan in the later stages of the game. Very unfortunate, that miscommunication between the two of them. That would have been a lot of damage, probably taken one of the heroes out right away, and then they could have turned that fight around completely. As it happens, that's where a lot of the momentum shifted against Arthas again. So great play, super entertaining. At least I really enjoyed watching it and also casting it. I hope that you guys liked the match too. If you did, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section, and if you have a couple of friends that really like to see Azmodan compositions, if they enjoy to see Azmodan playstyle, then make sure that you share the video with them, because this game was definitely a great Azmodan match, even though the hero in the end lost it. But it was pretty cool to see NaVi turn it around in the late game against Azmodan, Khaldor and Zeratul. That's definitely something that you don't see every day, but NaVi, of course, an absolute top team in Europe right now. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope that you enjoyed the match. Subscribe to Khaldor TV if you want more Heroes of the Storm content. There's daily content on the channel for Heroes of the Storm, and hope to see you guys soon again here for more videos. Have a great day, and bye bye.